Hi, my name is Kemal Dodds, and this is my week one TED Talk content analysis. For my TED Talk, I did Kate Stone, and her speech was about using technology and being creative to create new experiences, mainly through paper. And the point of her speech was to show you all the different ways that with this interactive ink that you could change the way that we interact with print. For example, one of the ways was she created a drum kit that you could hit the different drums and the snares and things, and it would send that sound Bluetooth to your phone, and then it would play the sound audibly. And so the whole point of her TED Talk was just to demonstrate this new technology. Alex Reiser says in her research and APA lesson that research is self-education. And my TED Talk presenter basically was used her PhD and electrons and the way they moved as a foundation for her knowledge on the subject. So her entire speech was about how to use these new technologies and how she created it and how she got to the point where she was. And what made it credible was the fact that she had a PhD uh, educational background in what she was talking about. Her call to adventure was to integrate these technologies into print to make print more interactive. And Nancy Duarte says in her book that you have to be specific about how you want your audience to react in your call to adventure. So her call to adventure, was to get you to look into these technologies and think of the ways that they could be used, but it was ineffective because it didn't give you a specific direction. It was a broad stroke. Yeah, it showed you that you can use it in music and you can use it in print and you can use it in different ways creatively, but it didn't give the audience a specific direction to go with it. And that's what you need in your call to action. You need to say, hey, this is the world as you see it now. This is what the world could be, and I'm trying to move everyone here. Based on Alex Reister's lesson on storytelling, storytelling is the most effective when it connects emotionally. And my speaker used a few stories in her presentation. She used a story of how she created a device to eavesdrop on her father when she was a child. She also used an example of while she lived in Australia, how she was a sheep herder, and how that experience led her to understand how she could change the way electrons moved by manipulating the environment around them. And her storytelling wasn't all that effective because it didn't have any conflict. There was no twist, there was no turn. She wasn't fighting against anything. You couldn't root for her to be the victor. It was kind of more so just background into her life so you can understand how she ended up where she was. So in that regard, her storytelling wasn't that effective. Um, Nancy Duarte in her book Resonate says that in persuasion you need a small thorn that is sharper than fact to prick their hearts, and that thorn is emotion. And her talk was very persuasive in the sense that it inspired excitement, childlike imagination. It made you look at your traditional print and think of all the different ways that it can be better. So it tapped into those emotions, into the childlike giddiness of seeing something really cool and something really innovative and something that you've never seen before, and really getting you excited about the possibilities of it. And so her talk was very persuasive in doing that, in tapping into that emotion, into the excitement, and into the creativity that was possible based on what she was showing you with her innovation with print. And her call to action was to innovate, was to use the innovation and technology to get people to do what you want them to do by changing their environment. So what she meant by that was, instead of trying to change people and change the way that we think, it may be better for us to just, it would be better, or it would work better if you change the environment around them. So one of the examples that she gave was, we want everyone to be more energy efficient. So one of the ways to do it would not be by sending them letters saying, hey, you need to be more energy efficient, but instead maybe send them this interactive poster that when it takes the energy reading and it shows it on a tree, and if you're doing well, the tree grows, and if you're not doing so well, the tree dies. And she was just saying that this was one of the ways that we can use this technology and change the environment around us. And her call to action, again, it wasn't specific. It didn't say, let's use it this way, like this is one of the ways that we can use it. It was broad strokes, and because it was broad stroke, it just left you without a definitive direction on what you needed to be doing next. All in all, I thought her presentation was really good and I enjoyed it, and I look forward to doing more in this class. Already it's been fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed my talk. Thank you.